Did anybody else get their documents sent out? Pretty easy.
No, I've got a number going out tomorrow.
Okay.
And then we got to find a notary. Dawn and I are going to go to a notary. We're going to go county over. We were told no already by the Allegheny County. And we were told no by one sheriff's office. One sheriff's office said that they would notarize. So we've got to go. We've got to drive about 40 minutes to get a notary, and we're going to do that Friday.
Do you have a driver's license bureau around you?
We tried them already, and they told us to go to AAA. They only going to notarize their documents. No public notary.
Because when we went to our notary in Toledo, they had absolutely no problem. They said, we'll notarize anything. So I guess it depends on each place then. You know, it's like some clerks will file anything, other ones don't follow the rules. Illinois County.
Our county is completely corporate. It used to be, I guess, 8-10 years ago, we had a county commissioner. Now it's a county executive. So he's got the title and the corporate title and everything. It's. I think that's why they had the G20 here in Pittsburgh a couple years ago. It's and we're in a Commonwealth too. I don't know if that makes it different, but it's tough in Pennsylvania. In fact, we filed our UCC once, a couple years ago. We had to go out of state. We lived in New York. Pennsylvania gave us a rough time, and plus they're almost $100 a filing here in the state.
No,
$20 sure.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be working on the utility companies with an open letter of credit, and then for one of the state licenses, probably the car and the marriage license here in the state. So we have to locate the state bank.
Yeah. I guess you got to put a cover letter together for the utilities also.
Well, probably wouldn't hurt, but we need to change the second paragraph so that the terms, the fact that it's open letter of credit with a time limit they use for a specific purpose has to be clear in there.
Right, absolutely, yeah. Is Gavin? I see Gavin on the Skype group. Is he on the calls normally?
I think I've seen him once or twice. If the caller who just called,
take one.
Hi, Connie.
I don't know. Just take one.
You have a lot of background noise, Connie. So anybody else getting ready to send them out? Having any particular problems with them?
Okay, Tom, this is Pat. I'm on the line.
Yeah, hi, Patrick.
You want to think about this before you start sending all these things out to the utility companies and everything, okay? To do an open energy, if you're going to close this account down, okay, and if you want to come out of the system, that's the only way you're going to be able to do this, is to close this Social Security system completely down, okay? Then you get it onto a debit card, and then you pay out of your debit card. with your credits.
And that would be easier too, month support transaction.
Yes, you just basically allow them to monthly take it out of your debit card.
Right.
And they have to give you a full accounting of the settlement of that monthly bill.
Mm-hmm.
But to give them an open-ended letter of credit, you should only do that by a year, okay?
Yes.
And then you're still going to be tied into the Social Security system with them, okay,
right.
in the process. So you're still going to be under their control, the state governmental control, by having that Social Security, a foreign controlling system over you. Now, I posted some maxims of law up there. Okay? And the very last one is very telling. And that basically, these things were supposed to be a time limit. A Social Security account was only supposed to be there from 18 to 25. You're not supposed to be in bondage. 25, you were supposed to become a free man. That's even in Title 46, the Shipping Act. So, for that maximum of law, it also states the same thing when you know how to read between the lines. All of these policies that we have, the driver's license, was an obligation of them to settle the bill. And it has a fully paid up policy. It's a fully paid policy, a beneficial policy for which the full par value has been paid to the corporation beneficial owner for the beneficiary. Now, you're not going to find that in the dictionary, but you will find a fully paid stock. A fully paid policy is essentially the same thing as a fully paid stock. And then a full account rendered, not necessarily a proper expedition of the money received. Expenditure of the money received. And then also you need to understand the duties, okay? Duty to communicate. An agent's duty to make a full disclosure to his principal of any material facts relevant to the agency. Okay? That judge, that prosecuting attorney, they are agents. You are the principal. Okay? The people of America are the principal government of America. The agents are working for the chartered government. See, we're the principal. And notice the principal's notice the agent scenario. The agents have to notify the principal. Duty of support. The obligation to support a person under an agreement for support. A license is an agreement for support. These contracts cannot be just one way. Intercourse has to have something that both parties are receiving. Just like sex. Okay? You can't have a one-sided sexual intercourse unless you're doing it in a back room or whatever by yourself. See, people don't go and look at all the damn words that they need to look at. Duties required of him by law. Basically, among those entitled to receive it. An executor or an administrator is under obligations to basically inform those entitled to receive it. We're entitled to receive all of the different avenues to settle the bills in a court action. They have been denied us. They only come in and say, well, this is the only way it can be. That's wrong, okay? There was never supposed to be debtor prisons in this country. They have to give us the remedy. We're the owners of this country, not the corporations, and by goddamn sure, not the government. They're just a creation of ours. Right. We're the creator. And he who has the power to create has the power to destroy. That's the number one maxim out there from the get-go in the Bible. You have to know where you stand. You have to know how to read between the lines. You have to know what the words mean. And then how the words are being used in the process to be able to ascertain what is really going on. That's why I was able to take FDIC, Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, and really look at it and say, federal beneficiary, what did I say? Just a second.
Federal debtor.
Depositor, federal depositor.
Debtor.
Yeah, where in the
Looking
hell
at
is it? Just a second. Yeah, federal debtor of the insurance contract. You could put assurance contract in there too, because the assurance is the same thing as insurance when you look in a dictionary. And it's fully funded, full faith and credit. People don't know what full faith and credit really means. We have the funds, the full faith and credit funds of the policy by way of our debtors' assets or by way of our birth inheritance to the de jure treasury of the country. And that is per Article 4, Section 1 of the Constitution. That's what the full faith and credit means. You don't need them telling you you've got full faith and credit. It's right there in the Constitution. You've had it all along. You just have to put the claim in over these by either your ship owners, vessel owners, lien, or by your letter of credit, which is also a continuation of the lien over that cargo. And then you come in as the fiduciary. Okay? They cannot be a fiduciary. Let me pull this up. Fiduciary, the word embraces those and only those who are bound for the discharge of express trust, technical trust, where bond is required to be given by law. Okay? And it does not include those engaged in the execution of trust springing from contract. All of their instruments are done by contract. Therefore, they cannot be a fiduciary.
Mm-hmm.
See, you've got to read the definitions and understand what they're saying. We are under bond to ourselves, to our inheritance. We're bonded to it. Just like crazy glue. Okay? A lot of this stuff is very simple when you start sitting down and using the real law book, which is the dictionary, when you understand the words. And until you understand the words, you're not going to basically make too much headway. You're going to screw it up. I've tried to tell you that for years now. That's why I put out so many different sets of words out there and try and highlight them for you guys. It's not that hard, okay? You can go in and basically put these in and do a draw. You've got your birth certificate. I put the template up there. I put up the set off a bill. Basically, every bill that you have, you've got an account. That corporation had the funds there. They drew the funds from your Social Security vessel cargo for so much for that year. Like I said, these corporations have to zero their books at the end of the year. So where do they get the money from to operate, to buy the trainload of coal, to run the power plant, to turn on electric power so that they can pump the water? They've got to have funds there before they can do that. Where do they get that from? They get it from their customers. They don't get it from their employees because their employees, basically, they're operating there to borrow money from the employees so that they can turn around and write bonds so that they can pay the employees their salary. That's what the W-4 is all about. You stay away from half this other garbage out here that basically going to the 54, 44 forms and stuff like that, going up to Minnesota. Hey, you basically go to the damn bank, the Social Security bank. I told you last week what the damn Social Security says. It's an obligation for the welfare of the people. And then I just read you this one statement there about the duty. Duty of support. Basically, they use that all the time about a husband or whatever when in a divorce case. It's your duty to support the ex-wife or whatever, or the children. But you've got a policy there that was supposed to be doing that. That was the state third party. The third party was the one that was to be the have the obligation of support. Otherwise, you don't need a marriage license. You're under ethical obligation when just two people get married and they leave the state out. That falls under ethics. See, people don't know. They get out here and they argue something. They have no idea about what they're really arguing, and they're going to get burned big time. But you have every right to come in and terminate that Social Security account because it is over its time frame. It was supposed to be terminated and put on the shelf at the age of 25. You can't be a free man if you're being held under bondage. And duty of support is an obligation of the dead to support the living. That's why we have to surrender our offshore dead person over to the morticians that are located at the port of entry into this country. And then all duties, imposts, and excesses are required to be taken from those items, those commodities that are coming into the country. So read about duties and imposts, and duties, imposts, and excesses. And then understand it's the duty to communicate. And that is what the fraudulent concealments that these courts are operating under. They're not giving full disclosure of all the relief remedies you have at your disposal. They're just getting you to try and jump onto one. You're the creator, and you have the power to destroy the thing. And the duty of support is basically the dead has to support the living. So if you act like the dead, then you're screwed. But if you act like the living, then the dead is going to have to support you. And basically you hold the court accountable because they are agents. They're your agents. You're the principal. We created the government, and the government can't have more power than the creator. That's a maxim of the law. You can turn around, you send one of these in with your, try one of your bills. Send that in. I gave you the bill template for that. Your taxes. You can send the taxes in for more value than what they are. The template that I had up there for taxes just needs to have the notary and the affidavit, the foreign affidavit part put on there. It's a foreign banking transaction. Okay? And see, everything in this country is operated as foreign because every state is foreign to one another. And this Social Security system was by a foreign state that everybody signed up with. Even though you may be living in Maryland, basically that Social Security was under the control of the United States, secondary chartered 1871 corporation. And the United States 1871 was copyrighted out of England. So right there, that is a foreign banking system. Foreign government and foreign banking system, too. We have to get to the constitutional system that's out here. But that Social Security system is nothing but a U.S. banking system for the people. The Federal Reserve is the banking system for the corporations. Now, the Social Security does have, by way of that number on the back of the Social Security card, a Federal Reserve bank account here on continental United States of America, minor, in their banking system. The vast majority of it's held in the offshore accounts down in Puerto Rico. And that's why we have to surrender this over to the port of entry customs agents, which are going to be the morticians, because this is a mortmain account. They've got to go and dig up that dead in the offshore cemetery, purify him, get rid of all his bad shit, and then bury him in the de jure cemetery of the United States of America Major, which will be the de jure treasury. That's simple. And all morticians wear black. At least they used to. That's why the guys that'll come to see you, they're the men in black. They're the morticians. Okay. I hope to hear something next day or so, but basically they've got roughly 5 days to get this thing processed. I sent one out for hospital bill, one for to Kansas City for DD 214, and then one to Philadelphia with my birth certificate. We'll see whether they turn around and put all the funds into the Direct Express card, or whether the one out of Philadelphia turns around and gives me a different Direct Express card. You can turn around and do letters of credit against the FDIC and put these on deposit, and then do a debiting check against that FDIC policy. You can do the same thing with any insurance policy. Whole life insurance policies. I had those before. I drew money out of them. I told you that before. That's all that these things are. But they're fully paid up insurance policies or assurance policies. Therefore, they are using that as collateral for hire and profit as the beneficial owner. But we are the true vessel owner. We're the creator. We created these things. And we have the power to destroy. That's what Dorothy had, the power to destroy in the movie Wizard of Oz. It was an imaginary world. Therefore, she had the power to destroy the witch. You don't have to put up with this stuff because all these courts are basically just accountants. They're administrators. They're banking administrators. Utilize them as such. Well, tell me, what remedies do I have to set this off? If you don't tell me, I will take your bar card, because you're under obligations as an agent to give me full disclosure, because I'm the principal. And that's under the duty to communicate. And then that policy that they're charging out there is under an obligation to support you. It's an agreement for support. The license was an agreement, the driver's license was an agreement to give you support if you broke the law. If it wasn't that way, then basically all of these contracts would be totally fraud, and they would never be able to stand up in any court. They have to have a remedy attached to each one of these contracts. You have to hold them to those remedies. Because, like I said, there was never supposed to be a debtor prisons in this country, and basically everybody that's going to prison and jail is basically there voluntarily. If they're not there voluntarily, then basically you can take their damn bar card away from them, because you were put in there under duress. But you have to know that this is all about banking, and then you have to get in touch with the Attorney General, or with the Inspector Generals, the banking Inspector Generals, and know how to claim that this was banking fraud. The same thing with the federal banking inspectors, the FBI. And the secret banking system, the Secret Service. They're just secret banking agents. Even most of the U.S. Marshals are out there in operating as banking accountants. They allow them to carry a gun. I don't know why. Just for show and tell, I guess. Like little kids. Mine's bigger than yours. Okay. Any questions, comments? Anybody there?
Yeah, we're here. So it looked like what we're doing with these duties, we're getting us to prepare, and if we're going to have to enforce, we do the through the Inspector Generals using this language.
Yes, but you have to know the definitions in the dictionary, okay?
Oh, yeah. I'll have to go through this call. I got the definitions up now. That duty, the duty to communicate, well, that really nails them.
Well, that one and that Latin phrase that I posted up there yesterday or this morning.
Yeah, the creator can destroy.
Well, no, a present indebtedness to be paid at a future time, although the duties thus accrue to the government as a personal debt of the importer upon the arrival of the goods at a proper port of entry. Yet it is but an debitum in personam, in future, according to the Revenue Collection Act. Okay? When you read between the lines, we have to basically turn that over to the port of entry, let them clean it up, just like back in Moses' time with the temple system that they set up, the banking system, and they had the bulls and the scapegoats, okay, which were fraudulent contracts. The bulls were other contracts, but they had to take the usury part out, purify, and just tax. They could hold the taxes for what was the usury, but they had to give the good stuff, the valid assets, back to the people. See, people don't understand the slaughtering of the bulls and the slaughtering of the goats. They were contracts, scapegoat contracts for the goats. That's where scapegoat came from.
Patrick, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Based upon all of the processes that we've been doing for the last, well, I've only been with you for about a few months, but you've been doing a lot of things. Can you see anything based on what you've been doing over the years? Can you see any other methodology after we do this that they could try to negate us by saying we didn't do this or that? Can you see any other way that they can get out of this? I mean, because this looks like, I thought the individual banker was just about it, but it looked like even that there was some type of snafu with that. So,
we have to surrender all of this stuff over to them, okay? All of their contracts over to them. The driver's license, the certificate of title, all of these fraudulent. See, you don't need a driver's license. You don't need a certificate of title to the vehicle.
right.
When you got the purchase to the vehicle, you own that vehicle, okay? But when you got a certificate of title to the vehicle, you allowed the state to become the beneficial owner of that vehicle. Then they could turn around and use that for profit and for hire so that they made money off of it, okay? But they were supposed to be paying all the damn taxes and all the license registration and everything else. But they didn't, because you didn't know what that contract was, because they didn't give you full disclosure. And that's fraudulent concealment in the contract. See, you've got them when you understand this, but we're going to have to surrender everything if we want to be a free person, a freed man upon the land. Then we can access the de jure treasury after our mortmain person is properly buried with all his assets into the de jure treasury. We've already got the access as a United States of America major banknote under the Bureau of Vital Statistics and co-sealed by your state of residence, your birthing residence.
Patrick,
So we have all the remedies here. You just have to put them into place.
Gotcha.
But you've got to give it up. And that's what so many people are afraid to give up goddamn insurance policy when the insurance is destroying the damn country.
Absolutely.
Patrick, I was just going to comment to what you were saying and what the man asked there. Another thing to consider, and you've probably mentioned this, but simply besides the fraud itself is the law of necessity, in both lawfully and legally, the law of necessity. And just based on that alone, even if fraud was not a part of this issue or non-full disclosure or whatever other, age of majority, any of those things, the law of necessity prevails. And if people, again, recognize the man and woman that you are, and you have that law behind you by your creator, your source, and also by the very laws that man has created.
Yeah, and see, but we created that Social Security vessel, okay? The state didn't. We created it by our signature.
Exactly.
Okay? And he who has the power to create has the power to destroy.
Exactly.
It's your dream. Wake up, people.
Mm-hmm. Right.
As soon as you wake up, the dream's over.
Mm-hmm.
It ceases.
Yeah.
Now, you'll have some lingerings if you have a real good nightmare that basically may scare the shit out of you down the road, but basically it's not going to harm you.
Mm.
A nightmare can't harm you unless you really get deep into it and basically then worry about it. And then it's the worry that causes you to have the damn heart attack and die.
Mm-hmm.
But no,
Patrick,
we got the power. Yeah, go ahead.
how does Title 26, 671 to 679, how does that solidify this process that we're doing?
Title 26? You
Yes.
mean Title 46?
Is that what it is? Because I heard that mentioned on here quite a few times. I may have written it down wrong. I thought it was
Title 46. It's the Shipping Act. See, everything is done by a vessel. Every account you have is classified as a vessel. It's holding something. See, a ship out on the ocean holds cargo. Okay? Your bank account holds cargo. Your driver's license with an insurance policy is holding cargo for your benefit. You just didn't know it was there under that insurance policy. So the cargo is there. You just have to know how to release it, and you have to bring these guys into compliance in ordering that release. Otherwise, they're the ones, the county prosecutor and the judge, and they're nothing but bankers. That's what that bar card is all about.
Patrick, he was talking in regards to that dude that was on the call that day, and he didn't tell us what had happened. He spoke about Title 26.
Oh, well, basically, I'm not worried about Title 26. That's just another damn code in their damn system. I just know that basically everything out here is primarily, they made us our fictional person under that Social Security account. That person that now became the vessel with the Social Security system became a merchant seaman, okay? And basically he is located, and he died down in Puerto Rico. He really died at the age of 25. So he's buried down there in Puerto Rico. We have to have him dug up and brought home, okay? He was only supposed to last for 7 years. 7-year contract. That's all that they could basically have. That's why it was from 18 to 25. Same thing with the military, 18 to 25. Now, your obligation was up after you did 2 years of active duty service. And then under that one maximum law that I posted up there that talks about 852. When more is done than ought to be done, or ought to be done, that shall be considered as performed, which should have been performed, as if a man having a power to make a lease for 10 years, making one for 20 years, it shall be void for the surplus. And see, basically, we made a contract for 7 years. But yet we're still operating this as it was a lifetime contract. And it wasn't supposed to be a lifetime contract. You were supposed to be freed at the age of 25 because you had to be free. You could not be under any bondage, under any banker, and to be able to represent another man. And that's what the age of 25 in the Constitution was stating. You could not be indebted to any other person if you were going to be able to represent somebody here in this country, to run for the House of Representatives or for the Senate or even for the presidency. These guys that we have now, they're all under bondage to the bankers, and the bankers are controlling them. That's the whole government that we have. We have a bankers' government. But we have the right to break free of that bankers' government because it is a foreign government, and that falls under that Expatriation Act 249 that was signed the night before the 14th Amendment. That is your Caesar's clause to get out of all this fraudulent bullshit. But you have to surrender it and let the proper morticians come in, the men in black, and clean it up and rebury that mortemain dead man in his proper coffin. Well, not even in a coffin, just bury him in the ground. You don't do coffins. And that's one of the oldest another one of the oldest maxims of law. Basically, the debt you owe, the only debt that you really owe, is back to Mother Earth. You're supposed to give that body that came from the earth back to the earth. Mm-hmm. And you do not put it in no damn stinking coffin. You let the bugs and the worms and basically everything else have total access so that they can disperse all the minerals that are in that body back into the earth, the harmonics. Put it out back in there and help restore the land. The dead is always supposed to support the living.
Actual fact.
This stuff isn't hard. It's not calculus, okay? This is basically kindergarten math. Even most preschoolers know this shit. Good preschoolers. Because they watched it on the cartoons.
Schoolhouse Rock.
Pat, you were talking about the 7 years, and that's also in the Bible, in the Word. It talks about the 7-year Jubilee when any debts, were forgiven.
Yeah. And what is? Basically, the Jubilee year is 50, okay? And it's 7 times 7, is 49. And basically then the next year is the Jubilee year, which everything is supposed to be fully terminated.
Fully, exactly.
But in our case, per the Constitution, it was supposed to be terminated at the age of 25. So you were supposed to be in an apprenticeship, okay, up until the age of 21. Then you got into a journeymanship, okay, and you're still under bondage. And the journeymanship was supposed to be from 21 to 25. Or 18 to 25. Basically, when you got out of school at the age of 18. Your 12 years of schooling. Normally, most people ended up being about the age of 18 when they graduated from high school, after their 12 years of schooling. So then they would enter into their journeymanship process until they got to be 25 and they became a master. Okay. Any other questions on the documents or anything out there?
Patrick, that stuff you talked about, those words you was using, are they posted on the Yahoo group?
No.
I'll put a new Rev 3 up there that includes some of these words in it.
But you can find them in the Valentine Dictionary.
I can find them in the Valentine Dictionary.
Right, which is posted also. In the
so they are posted then?
No, the dictionary is posted in the DICT section of the e-concurrent.
Yeah, I know where it's at, Thomas. Thank you.
Okay.
Hey, Patrick, I've got 3 questions.
Yeah.
First question is that I think I recollect a few weeks or a month or so ago that is there a minimum amount that you can use a letter of credit for on a presentment? I thought I heard it was about $600. For example, I have a $500 balance on a credit card. Can I use a letter of credit on that?
No, you've already got basically a set-off, okay? So you can take the bill and set it off against the $2 million insurance policy that's against that credit card. See, there's a fully paid up $2 million policy, just like the FDIC at your local bank. There's $250,000 that your Mortimain person deposited with the FDIC. The FDIC don't have no money of their own, so where'd they get the money to back this policy of $250,000? They got it from our account. The credit cards have done the same thing. The state driver's license has done the same thing. The certificate of title to the vehicle. Basically, the vehicle new purchase price was whatever it says on that certificate of title. If you bought the car for $25,000, basically that's what that certificate, that insurance policy has, because they put a claim against that vehicle. And then they've written bonds using it as collateral in the process. So they're making a profit, and it's out for hire.
So are we using the Rev 2 example?
You use the account that they have there when they send you the bill. the credit card account in the process to order them to set off that bill.
Okay.
And then basically, if they do not comply, then you will call in the Social Security Inspector General, the Banking Inspector General, Treasury Inspector General, and the FBI.
Okay. Gotcha. Thank you on that one.
Yeah, and you could take them into court and basically put them under onus in the court. And basically, if they go into court, what is it at that point in time now? Triple damages.
Right. Right. Would you? Second question. Would you treat your internet and telephone provider like a utility with an open?
I wouldn't make it an open one. Okay, you know how much basically the bill is. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going against your credit card. So if you set the credit card off, you don't need to set the other one off.
Okay.
And anyway, you should be getting ready to close all this stuff down. And then you'll basically have this under a different scenario. You'll pay as you go.
Right.
You won't get into this 2-year contract with them because up front you can pay the extra fee, $300 hookup, like the internet that basically I was talking to one about trying to get a different internet system here. Well, if I sign up a 2-year contract, they'll give me the equipment for $99. But if I pay the $300 for the equipment, I can pay for it monthly.
True.
See, they want you to basically give them your account. And yes, if you give them like a 2-year contract, yeah, they're setting up a policy behind that. You've got to start understanding how the banking system in this country really works. You don't get into this item, you pay as you go. You don't put it out into the future. You pay as you go. And that's why those maxims and basically those definitions that I tried to point out are very key in the duties and stuff. See, people have been looking at a lot of this stuff all wrong. And they never looked at all the words they need to look at. In a lot of cases, in court cases, they never really looked at the all these patriots out here. They look at what the defense is doing, but they never look at what the prosecuting or the judges are really saying. It just goes right over their head. They don't want to hear that. They only want to hear and think that basically this nitwit over here that's arguing with them knows what he's arguing about. Lo and behold, they don't know what they're arguing about. And they're just going to get you in trouble if you follow them.
Okay. Third question.
Okay.
Is when I'm studying the banknote letter of credit and affidavit, and then the DD-214 letter of credit and affidavit, and then you have the IRS letter of credit template, and the first two include the word affidavit at the top. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I just coming on tonight, I thought I heard you say that you have to put a foreign affidavit on the IRS letter of credit template.
Yes, you're going to have to make the IRS template that I had up there look like the other three, the bill one and the DD-214 one, and basically the banknote, the birth certificate banknote one. Okay, you're going to have to modify them.
Okay. Now, with the letter, with the affidavit, is what part of the letter? I mean, when I see the WA,
anything that you write down there, you're saying this is my beliefs. An affidavit is a statement of your beliefs.
Okay.
So when you sign that down below in front of the notary, you are saying this is my affidavit. It's a foreign affidavit.
Okay. Then
okay.
we'll need that IRS letter of credit letter of credit.
You need to have it notarized with the same notary statement. That's what I said earlier. You need to have that put onto that IRS one too.
Right.
Okay.
But on the IRS one, you can turn around and make it for more value and have them send you the difference.
Right. Right.
Patrick, that's exactly what I did. And, I mean, I was before this call tonight. I did that on my own. Right on.
Yeah, and then basically they'll send you the difference in a treasury check, or basically should have it deposited into if you got a direct express card.
Hello, Patrick.
Yeah.
I'm calling to inquire about this one thing in regards to the DD-214. My husband received the letter indicating how much we would be getting per month, okay? I'm wondering if I could use that letter and take it out to the county, as you were saying before, to file it, or not?
He should have a wet ink signature copy of that DD-214.
We're waiting on it to come back, but I just thought, I should try to inquire on that. So I'll just wait.
Well, he should have had one in his discharge records, okay?
Mm-hmm.
When he got discharged, he should have gotten a copy of that DD-214. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people, they get out and basically then they lose track of all their records and everything. I mean, hell, I've got report cards from junior high that my mom kept for me. I've got just about every certificate of birth, okay, that basically I had, growing all the way up from the hospital back in 1949.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm happy to hear that. I mean, there's some people who have it.
You've got to keep these documents, okay? They're important. Yeah.
I do hear what you're saying. I don't have any problem with that. I was just curious. So the answer is no.
Yeah. Now, as soon as you get that certified copy, then you're supposed to take that down and you put it into the military discharge book at the county. See, that's a land record. That's a military, if he did honorable service, okay, for 2 years, he has basically a military bounty, and that's a land bounty. See, all the public lands out here really are essentially in the name of all the military personnel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? They did away with that, giving the people the 640 acres or whatever it was that basically came out of the Civil War, okay, in the process. They did away with that, and it used to be that and people back in even after World War II or World War I didn't know all their rights and didn't know that they had this stuff, so they marched on Washington, and basically they were just a bunch of rogue babies in diapers, and the government turned around and started shooting them up. because they were out there revolting against something that they did not understand. And that's why most people get into trouble, is because they're out there trying to fight something, and the remedy is sitting over on the other side of the fence if they just open up their eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that was covered. They put that over under Title 38, and then basically slowly they took it out of Title 38 and moved it over into Title 46 under Chapter 73. Okay? For the merchant seaman. And basically, that's where a lot of this remedy is at, but it's being held under the Social Security, and they got everybody in the military to have to sign up with Social Security.
Mm-hmm.
So they put it...
I'm curious, too, about the fact that you're seeing something pertaining to all of the insurances. And I understand that I can actually go to the insurance company in which I have all of the or whatever, and to have them to pay for them or to pay me or what?
Yes, if you have a whole life insurance policy, you can go in and draw against that. But
without having to pay the premiums or what?
Yes, just the premiums, okay, in a standard insurance policy. Now, basically, you terminate all those insurance policies because basically there is no such thing as real insurance. You're just giving your money over. You're taking it out of circulation and handing it over to somebody else. You're depriving yourself of the usage of that funds.
Well, my question in regards to that, some of the policies I have terminated them. So I'm asking if, in fact, I should be able to go back in there and pull out all of the funds or not.
You would only be able to pull out the funds that you deposited into those accounts. Okay?
I gotcha. Okay.
They don't have, they're not like the state assurance policies, okay, to where the state turned around and made a $11.2 million assurance policy against you so that they could use that as collateral. These other insurance contracts you have, basically, you have to pay into them, okay?
Correct. All right, thank you.
Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Patrick, were you saying, when you were talking about that Title 46 and the Merchant Marines, and then prior to that you mentioned the 640 acres
Speak up, please.
The Civil War.
Yeah, speak up a little.
Were you saying from the time with the Civil War and the 640 acres and then up to the Merchant Marine and Title 46 that it basically transferred in all that acreage and land that was supposed to be available to those families, and then that it went into that Title 46? Eventually, it's there now as a Merchant Marine type of thing?
Yes, the entitlement, the military bounty entitlement is added into your Social Security Merchant Marine account that is held down in Puerto Rico. Okay? But it is under a special account because it's under another SS number, and that is the Selective Service Number. Okay? Even though it uses the Social Security number, it only uses the Social Security number as a bank routing number.
Okay.
See, the Selective Service Number is there, and that account is being used by the Defense Department. Where do you think the Defense Department gets all their damn stinking money to go out and make all these weapons?
But when you say selective service, obviously in most people's minds they think, well, that's someone that's in the military, but yet it seems to me that when they did the thing with the Lieber Code and all that, it placed in their world, it placed everyone that had a Social Security number and a voter and all this birth certificate, it made them military, so to speak.
It set it up, okay? But it did not activate until they went into the service, okay? It didn't become an activated account until they went into the service. But that selective service was set up also on a 7-year contract, 18 to 25. A man had to go and sign up at the age of 18. And basically he was free from all obligations even if he didn't serve at the age of 25.
Okay.
A person that's in the military can terminate his military obligations if he's not in a war zone at the age of 25.
Right.
And quick. They've got 3 days to get him out.
So what about the men previously? I mean, most obviously Civil War, they've passed. World War I, they've passed. World War II, close to it, if they haven't already. And then you've got the
military DD-214 was primarily established, and the military bounty was primarily established for the living man and for his spouse.
Right. So if it's for his spouse too, then some of those spouses, from 2 and then.
So the spouse can turn around and put a claim in against that DD-214.
Right, that's what I assumed. Okay.
Yeah, but the best thing to do is have both of those. See, you've got a mortmain, and it's sitting down there in Puerto Rico. Turn it over, surrender it to the port authorities, to the custom agents, have it brought back into this country and buried in the Treasury out in Philadelphia or Kansas City, okay? The 2 ports of entry. Have it buried in the appropriate cemetery. Now you can turn around and take that DD-214 and go to those port authorities, because now those things are being held in a warehouse at that port of entry. And that's what we're doing with what I was doing with my DD-214. I was going to the warehouse, or with my birth certificate, I was going to the warehouse as that was a warehouse receipt. That birth certificate, it's a banknote warehouse receipt.
Well,
and see, they're holding my account in the Treasury, and the Treasury is the warehouse.
Treasury's warehouse, yeah. So back to the 640 acres and blah, blah, blah.
You're not going to get the land, okay? They've taken the land out of circulation. Payment.
But if they did it without full disclosure, doesn't the same principles apply and the same maxims apply to say that there is land there? And that
yes, if you wanted to go out and squat out there in some of the land that basically is out there in grazing lands or something like that, yeah. You could probably get away with it if you knew all the right laws and everything. Mm-hmm. You would have to basically be a homesteader and basically set up a homestead under the Homesteading Act and then claim that land under the military entitlement. But see, you've got to know more laws, and basically, until you get this understanding of what I'm talking about right now, don't try anything else, please.
No, don't try it. I agree. I totally agree. It's just when you bring up the land, I think there's a lot more we're not touching on about the land.
There's a whole bunch more, okay?
Yeah.
See, I haven't even touched on the church.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I know that's a whole nother the land and the church.
Anybody that got a baptismal certificate from a 501c church, okay, that is another claiming document.
Exactly.
Ooh, I can't wait for that.
Well, you need to get on that before.
You need to get a EIN for the Church of Rome.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no, you didn't say
for
that.
your person for the baptismal certificate. See, the baptismal certificate was to forgive all your debts. That's what the church promised you. It's a promissory note, that baptismal certificate. It was to forgive all your original debts. So you have to turn around and get that properly acknowledged, okay, by getting that UCC. Then you come in as the fiduciary. They can't be the fiduciary because this is a contract. That was a promissory contract. So you come in as the fiduciary, and basically now you go to the vicar general or whoever for the diocese that you're in and order them to pay it, set off the bill from the bank, from the Church of Rome Bank or the Bank of Rome, which is holding the world assets.
Mm-hmm.
But that's another story.
Right. And you did, before you had, gone over the birth certificate, not with the EIN because this is new information for you, but you had, revealed that to people. And I know there was stuff going around, and I was sending some things out that time myself. I was not church baptized per se by priest or anything like that. But I just think, I know you will recognize some of this, but I don't think the people on the call that are new have, they weren't around to hear some of these things that you've talked about before and that you're bringing full circle now, I would say.
Well, they better listen to the last 5 or 6 years of calls that I've done. that should keep them busy for at least the next year or so.
No, I think if everyone just, again, keep it simple and as simple as you can, the basics.
Yes, if they just listen to the last couple of weeks' calls, basically they should get caught up with everything that they need to know and understand.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'd be able to handle any court case that basically comes down the pike, because all these damn court cases, unless you've actually harmed somebody or damaged some property, then basically you have to make restitution in those regards, but you have the means to set off that restitution. And basically everything out here is basically being charged. Unless you kill somebody, then you're definitely going to have to go to prison. Okay, unless it was self-defense. So you're in a total different category, and that's not a banking court, but most all other court actions, 99% of all court actions are banking court actions. And even the fraudulent bankruptcy court, we're not bankrupt. We have the means to set everything off if we know how to do it. It's the corporations that are all bankrupt. They owe us. And see, that's where we should have been taking them into bankruptcy when they didn't set these bills off, because they're the bankrupt. We're the creditor.
You spoke to a little bit ago about the remedy there, and I agree. I've always said this. There's, they have to.
You got to speak up a little more, please. The other people need to hear you too.
You spoke about the remedy there, and they do have to provide a remedy. I've said that all along myself. There has to be a remedy. So, that being said, it seems to me that if they have to reveal that remedy, and we demand that we we require that there is a remedy. What is the remedy for this particular situation? This is what we're presenting. We're presenting this, which is what you're talking about to them. And if this is not, to answer the man's question earlier, if this is not going to be sufficient, then provide the remedy. We require the remedy.
Yes.
Out of law of necessity, we require the remedy so that we can correct all this.
Yeah, and this court, okay, does not have jurisdiction over you, okay?
Right.
That's one of the maxims of the law, okay? A subordinate cannot have authority over the creator, and you're the creator.
Yes, I just hope everybody hears that loud and clear. Keep that at all times within your being.
Yes, we created this, and we can destroy it, okay? We can shut this thing down anytime we want to. You just have to know about it, and you don't go out there with revenge or harm
peacefully.
in your heart.
Right. Do it peacefully. Offer forgiveness as you want to be forgiven. And do it peacefully.
But if they can proceed, and see, there's 2 times in the Constitution, there shall be no bill of attainder.
And Congress shall make no laws. Congress shall make no laws.
No, just stick with bill of attainder, okay?
And bill of attainder.
Congress cannot issue a bill of attainder. And basically the states cannot issue a bill of attainder. But these courts that we're going into are not courts of law. They're banking administrative courts.
Right.
They're banking law courts. They're not justice law courts. They're only settlement courts. That was what was changed in 1938. That all these courts now became banking courts. Before that, basically the courts had to give the remedy by allowing the person to draw against the treasury of the country to set off any debt. But we've been assigned our own treasury account, and then we have this extra Social Security vessel with cargo that we pulled out of the treasury and put on board of the SS vessel that we have that is there to pay all the debts. We just have to know how to come in and, with our fiduciary capacity, order them to be set off. And if the courts don't comply, then they are operating in banking fraud and fraudulent concealment, and they can lose their license on that alone. And you can send them to jail. So you have to make the complaint to the banking inspector generals, and we've got quite a few of them. The postmaster general, the inspector general of the Social Security, the IRS inspector general. He's a banking inspector general. The Treasury inspector general, the Office of the Attorney General, the Justice Department inspector general. They're all banking inspector generals. And then we've also got the kicker, the FBI, which is the Federal Banking Investigators. They like to go by the name of Federal Bureau of Investigations, but they're just banking inspectors. They're just a big accounting firm, just like the Secret Service is. They're the Enterprise Financial Accounting Firm, the secret accounting firm. Everything out here is being operated in banking. That's what the whole Bible is about. It's a banking instruments banking laws and equity. We're the holders of the equity. The corporations can't hold any equity. Okay, any other questions? Try and work and study these documents. Listen to the call more than once. Okay?
Yep.
And that's what you really need to do. And basically, as you listen to the call, take notes. Okay? And then you might have to stop it, go back up and re-listen to it again, but download the calls and then put them on a special file somewhere. Same thing with the files. When you download these, save them onto another stick and then put the other ones over into another folder and work out of those so that you don't lose the original. You might have to revert back to it. There may come a time that basically the internet may shut down.
Right.
So you won't be able to get back until you concurrent to download them again. Okay, now, any other questions, comments, rebuttals? When you get ready to terminate your account, you'll have to try and do a manifest to go along with your termination surrender package they're going to send into Kansas City or to Philadelphia. And the manifest would include as many of the documents that you have, past bank accounts, whatever, so that they can go after the FDIC insurance policies that were attached to that, the credit card insurance policies, the driver's license. If you got a new driver's license from one state to another, voter registration, you name it. List them all. Give them a helping hand in the process. It will shorten your time that they have to go and go through the different accounts. They've got most of them already pretty much there because of your Social Security number.
At lunchtime? Okay. Okay, let's just forget the $4. Here's your bowl and your thing.
You talking to somebody else, or you trying to talk to the group? Okay, any other questions that need to be put out here for the group?
Yeah, Patrick, that what you just spoke of, the liquidation for the Social Security. In my case, I was just thinking of just send my Social Security card along with a cover letter with a few items in my.
You'll do basically the Social Security affidavit that I had up there before, okay? Along that lines, you'll have to make that a surrendering affidavit, okay? You'll get it notarized on the back side or whatever. If you have the Social Security card, I would make the notation, the affidavit, notary notation as a separate item and make it an attachment to that Social Security card. If you got the Social Security card. If you don't, if you just have a scanned copy of it, send that in. Okay?
Okay.
Front and back. Now, if you just have the original one that was issued prior to 19 whatever, before they started putting the number on the back of the Social Security card, then you just you don't have to have a copy of the backside. Because you're only dealing with one account. You don't have the other one, the Federal Reserve Bank, Social Security Bank account.
Thank you, Patrick.
Okay. Now that Social Security affidavit or what I had was what? Probably a couple months ago or so that I had that posted up there. But you do it something similar to what we're doing here with the DD-214 or with the birth certificate. Pretty much sort of the same write-up that you're going to be doing a surrender for full value. Full purified value after you turn it over to the morticians and have them put it into the proper cemetery. Yeah, it goes into the United States of America major ship graveyard. Even in the Pirates of the Caribbean, there was a ship graveyard there that they had to go across. Okay, no other questions, comments, or anything? Call tonight, Tom. What'd you do, Tom? Fall asleep?
Thank you, Patrick.
Okay.
No, sorry, I had myself muted. Thank you very much, Patrick.
Okay. Good night.
Thank you. Bye.